Hi, I'm Chris Gumas. Today I'm going to show you how to build a sensor mount system starting with a portable magnetic base all the way through a 12mm round sensor using these modular mounting components found on Ruland.com.
Now we're back on Ruland.com. All of the parts needed to build this sensor mount system can be found under the Machine Components tab in the Modular Mounting Systems category. This is a list of all parts that can be used to make your own modular mounting system. We will cover most as we build this sensor mount system. The first part I select is a portable magnetic base because I require portability in my sensor mount system. The magnetic base allows me to simply lift and move the system as needed without the use of tools. I choose the biggest size because I want to be safe and use the magnet with the highest force capability. I take note of the M6 thread and 36mm center-to-center dimensions. These dimensions will determine the size of the mounting base I select. I'll add this to my cart and start looking for a mounting base to pair it with. This is the only time I'll show you the cart page to save us some time. Now I'm moving on to the mounting bases. I start by filtering the center to center to see my options with a 36mm. I want a base with a bore that will fit to a tube, so I filter by bore diameter. The only bore size that shows up is 20mm, and I can choose between anodized and plain aluminum. I choose anodized because my system may be exposed to environmental elements like coolant and machine oil that we have in our factory here at Ruland. It is important to note that this part starts with MT20, which identifies connectors, bases, and bracket clamps with a 20mm round or 16mm square bore. This is a unique identifier that makes selecting the rest of the components in our system easier. I quickly look over the dimensions and add to cart. I need a tube that can fit into the mounting base. I use the Fits with Clamps filter to see options that fit with my MT20 mounting base. I want a smaller selection and set my overall length to the longest size available, 300mm, because I will need to precisely adjust the sensor within a range of about 150mm. The option with scale is best suited for my system. I'm adding to cart directly from this page since there is nothing else dimensionally I need to review. I also want to add a tube cap to the end because I'll be running wires through my system. When I install the system, one modification will be drilling a hole in the top of the tube cap to feed the wires through. This helps protect them from coolant, chips, and other contaminants in the operating environment. I go back to the tubes and rods section, select tube end caps, and filter to see options with the 20mm OD. There is only one option. Each tube has only one tube cap that fits, so I'm safe to again add directly to the cart. Now that the bottom half is complete, I need a mini clamp connector with two bores to connect the top and bottom half of my system. The adjustable two-way connector is a good choice for me because it allows me to easily adjust the angular positioning and height of my sensor as needed. I know my tube fits with MT20 clamps and there are only 12 options, so I simply scroll until I see an MT20 adjustable two-way connector. I click into the part to review dimensions. I take note of the 30mm height and width and the M6 clamp screw. These two dimensions will help me find a clamping lever kit to pair it with. I add it to the cart and move on to selecting my clamping lever kit. The clamping lever kits are used to replace the standard clamp screw with an adjustable clamping lever. It allows me to adjust the clamping pressure of the connector with no tools, making it simple to reposition my sensor height as needed. I go into the clamping lever kits for mini clamps and filter my options to see what has a sleeve and stud length of 30mm to match the width and height of my connector. There is only one option that has M6 in the part number, so it's the one I need. I click onto it to see the dimensions and confirm it meets all of my requirements, and then add to the cart. Next, I need another tube to add to the other half of my adjustable two-way connector. I go back to the tubes and rods section and filter to see which tubes fit with MT20 clamps. This time, I want the shortest length, so I filter to see what my options are with a 100mm length. The height of the top half of my system won't be adjusted, so I don't need a scale. The square tube is my choice because it's lightweight. I look over the dimensions, take note of the 16mm square OD, and move on to finding a bracket clamp. There are not many bracket clamps to choose from, so I scroll down instead of filter until I see the MT20 options to fit with my MT20 square tube. I want the anodized version and click into the product page to review dimensions. When reviewing, I double check that it has a 16mm square bore, and then look over the center and cross thread dimensions, which allow me to mate it with a bracket clamp. I note that this part has an M8 center thread and M4 cross threads. Add to cart and move on. Finally, I need to find a mounting bracket that can fit M8 center and M4 cross threads. I filter by the M8 center mounting screw and notice that they all have the same cross pattern as my bracket clamp. Any of these would work for me, but I filter by 12mm bore diameter because I already have a 12mm round sensor. I check the specs to verify it can pair with my clamp and move on to checkout. We have successfully built our sensor mount system. I quickly review the cart to be sure I have my portable magnetic base, mounting base, round tube end cap, two-way connector, mini clamping lever kit, square tube, bracket clamp, and sensor bracket. Thank you for watching. Like this video? Give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel.